Thompson-Boling Arena in this afternoon's commencement exercises. Please rise for our academic processional led by College Marshal Abigail Sachs, Dean Scott Poole, and Interim Provost and Senior Vice Chancellor John Zomchik. Thank you.
Welcome, everyone. Please remain standing for the singing of our national anthem by vocalist Kayla Beard and the UT School of Music String Quartet. Gentlemen, please remove your caps. Please be seated. Families, faculty members, Interim Provost Zomchik, honored guests, and most importantly, graduates. Good afternoon. I'm Scott Poole, Dean of the College of Architecture and Design, and I'm honored to stand before you this afternoon as we celebrate this milestone in your lives. Graduates, I speak for the college's faculty and many others when I convey our pride in you. You've had the character and integrity to see your work through to the end. To do that, you met the challenges of our curriculum, especially the hundreds and hundreds of hours of work in design studios, surviving sleepless nights, overcoming moments of doubt, getting the better of nerves, and nailing your final reviews to get to this moment. I'm so proud of you. Congratulations. Parents, family, and friends, for your steadfast support of our graduates, I and the faculty of College of the Architecture and Design, thank you. In a few minutes, your daughters and sons will graduate from our college. They've had a great education. They've lived with us for 4 or 5 years. Now they're ready to come home to live with you. Seriously, that could not be further from the truth. This class of graduates includes many who've had multiple offers from prestigious firms within the state of Tennessee, nationally and internationally. In fact, we had more recruiters at our career day than we had graduates. That's how good these students are. I want to speak to you for a moment about a question that seems to be gaining unfortunate momentum in the mass media and worth examining. Is college worth it? Some argue that you, our students, you arrived accomplished. You already knew what you needed to know and needed to find. You already had talent, and you already had the resolve to succeed. Then why go to college? Why go when the time and the cost are so high? Graduates years from now, I'm convinced, absolutely convinced, that you will reflect on your time here at the University of Tennessee in the College of Architecture and Design as one of the most enriching experiences of your life. Yes, your degree will impress employers, it already has. And it will make you richer in the material sense. But more importantly, it will add immeasurable value to your life. So what are these values? In general, in your time in college, you had the opportunity to enhance your intellect, to learn to communicate more precisely, and to improve your capacity for complex work. You were challenged by thought-provoking questions, questions that sparked your curiosity, questions that will keep you searching for the rest of your life. And that's a good thing. But there are also some very specific skills that make a degree in architecture and design so valuable. Let me tell your family and friends a little about this skill set. Our graduates have learned to better observe and perceive, to imagine and empathize, to make and represent their ideas. They acquired these and other skills and practiced them for 3,000 or 4,000 hours in design studios with friends and colleagues who are graduating with them today. Graduates, gradually and sometimes painfully, you achieve the level of excellence that qualifies you for the degree you'll be receiving. Before I finish, I want to tell you, and especially your family and friends, about 3 durable values that you'll leave with today. The first is courage. From the beginning of your education in our college, we not only asked you to make, but we also asked you to take a stand, to tell us each and every time you made a project something about your process, about the reasoning behind the things you made. In the beginning, these presentations were in front of your teacher and classmates. They were somewhat comfortable. As you progressed through school, you were asked to present to other teachers, to students outside your class, to guest reviewers, and sometimes to internationally prominent architects and designers. Each of you overcame your fear and were equal to the task. I couldn't be prouder of how courageous and articulate you've become. The second durable value is collaboration. Courage thrives in an environment of trust and collaboration. You've become a powerful team. It's somewhat easier to take risks, build resilience, and overcome fear when you're part of a team. Toward that end, we have worked tirelessly to create an educational environment where you are not afraid to fail or to make mistakes, where you depended on each other to reach common goals, where you trusted each other's abilities and valued each other's unique contributions. Unless you're going to go it alone, and almost no one does in the design and architecture fields, this skill will be of great value as you move into fields that thrive on collaboration. The third durable value is decisiveness. Decisiveness is actually a form of self-discipline. Everything you made opened up multiple paths of inquiry. Near the beginning of each design, you had to choose a direction, one single path of inquiry based on incomplete information in a high-stress environment. And boldly and courageously, you made those choices. I cannot adequately express how well that skill will serve you in your personal and your professional life. Thank you for pouring your heart and soul into our college and into your work. Continue to do that, be courageous. Thank you, graduates, for giving your best to our college. I look forward to collaborating with you as alumni and professionals. Now I would like to introduce all members of the stage party. Would stage party members stand as they are introduced and remain standing until all members have been recognized? Dr. John Zomchik, Interim Provost and Senior Vice Chancellor. Neil Richardson, Retired Principal, Architect of Record, Upland Design Group. Black Angus Seed Stock Breeder, Owner-Operator, Richview Angus Farm. Dr. John Steyer, Associate Dean, College of Agricultural Sciences and Natural Resources. Catherine Ambrosiak, Associate Professor and Associate Dean, School of Architecture. David Matthews, Professor, Associate Dean and Director, School of Interior Architecture. Jason Young, Professor and Director, School of Architecture. Gail Fulton, Associate Professor and Director, School of Landscape Architecture. James Rose, Distinguished Lecturer and Director, Institute for Smart Structures, School of Architecture. Dr. Abigail Sachs, Associate Professor, School of Architecture. Allison Bossard, Student, School of Interior Architecture. Dylan Dunn, School of Architecture, Undergraduate Program. Andrew Nathaniel Russell, Student, School of Architecture, Graduate Program. Paul Tamanatoku Babson, Student, School of Landscape Architecture. Please join me in recognizing our stage party with a round of applause. It is my great pleasure this afternoon to introduce our guest speaker, Percy Neil Richardson, a graduate of the first 5-year class of the University of Tennessee's School of Architecture from 1965 to 70. Neil's formal education as an architect and his informal education by the society around him led him to have a professional career that extended for 4 decades. He was the architect of record on numerous projects that continue to have a positive impact on the communities in which he practiced. He was the principal of Upland Design Group, which today remains a leading practice in Middle and East Tennessee. Please join me in welcoming back Neil Richardson.
Thank you, Interim Provost Zomchik and Dean Poole. Congratulations to you, the members of the class of 2018, for your achievements. I'm honored to be here to tell my story. Picture this: getting up at 4 a.m. in the morning, preparing for work in a little cabin in the woods with kerosene lamps and a bucket of creek water heating on the wood cook stove, running up 100 hand-laid rock steps out of the river gorge to my car, driving 60 miles to Knoxville, working overtime from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., 6 days per week at TVA, working on the design of nuclear power plants. And there were breaks in the scheduled overtime from regular time. I am Neil Richardson, a 1970 graduate of the University of Tennessee, Knoxville. I was in the first 5-year class to graduate from the University School of Architecture. I grew up in East Nashville in a conservative, segregated, blue-collar neighborhood. I was taught to follow directions and do as I was told without question. My high school guidance counselor recommended that I pursue a career in architecture based on good grades in art and math. During the summer of 1965, after graduating from East Nashville High School, I learned about the new School of Architecture at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville. I applied and was accepted. I had no idea what I was getting into because I had no knowledge of the architectural profession. I arrived on campus with all of my possessions in a Foot Locker and just enough money which I had earned and saved during high school for 1 year of expenses. At this time, UT had a large influx of students because of the baby boomer generation. Dorms were crowded and classrooms were in short supply. I found myself in shock. I was assigned to a dorm room in Neyland Stadium that was about 10 by 20 feet with 2 roommates, one from South Georgia and one from Westchester County, New York. They frequently had verbal conflicts and physical altercations, clashing over values and beliefs. My second day on campus, I found the renovation of Estabrook Hall nearing completion and about to become home to the new School of Architecture. During the next few days, students and faculty arrived, and I was eager to start classes. There were 48 boys and 2 girls in my class. We became an extended family, attending classes together and spending long hours in design labs. Initially, school consumed all of my time and energy. I had come to UT with a weak academic background. I was driven to succeed, and working hard is still among my personal values. During my time on the UT campus, international and social changes affected everyone. Racial integration occurred, and the Vietnam War polarized many. With these changes as the backdrop and the influence of classmates and faculty, I learned to question, analyze, and draw my own conclusions. I embraced inclusion of all races and cultures and opposed the involvement in Vietnam. Some of my architecture students were with me in protesting the Vietnam War and the political leaders that drove it. We participated in the protest at Neyland Stadium when President Nixon came to UT. My time at the University of Tennessee was life-changing. My last quarter at UT was particularly enlightening, having never traveled far from home. 13 students and 1 architecture instructor spent 3 months touring Western North America to see firsthand the natural environment and the built environment. We traveled in a converted Greyhound bus, sleeping on the ground, cooking for ourselves, living on money that we pooled from our meager resources plus our instructor's salary for the quarter. Highlights of our travels on the West Coast included Chinatown in Vancouver, British Columbia, Haight-Ashbury and the Berkeley campus of the University of California in San Francisco, and Tijuana, Mexico, all as we traveled down Highway 1. We visited many national parks, including Banff National Park in Alberta, Sequoia National Park, Glacier National Park, Redwood, and Rocky Mountain National Parks. We went to architecture offices and laboratories, including Paulo Solari's home, Cassanti, and his urban construction, Arcasanti. Graduation occurred while we were traveling, so my diploma was mailed to my parents' home. Today is my first attendance at an architecture class graduation. I made it after 48 years. My wife, Jeannie, transferred to UT majoring in graphic arts. We met in Estabrook Hall where she had classes. We married in 1969 and have been a team ever since. After marriage, Jeannie dropped out of school to work full-time. My college education was funded by our hard work and a student loan. In April 1971, we moved to a small tract of land on Clear Creek in Morgan County, Tennessee. It now borders the Obed Wild and Scenic River. We lived off the grid in the small cabin, which was 16 by 16 feet, cleared land by hand and mule for a vegetable garden and pasture. Most of our food was provided by a garden and a few animals for meat, eggs, and milk. Do you like honey? Would you be willing to climb 60 feet up a large white pine tree to retrieve a swarm of bees for a future source of honey? I did. My first part-time architectural jobs were in Knoxville with a community design center and an architect's office. My first full-time job began in 1972 with a Knoxville construction company doing survey work to lay out roads and buildings in a large development. My architectural design career began in 1973 when I was hired by the Tennessee Valley Authority to work in the architectural design branch in Knoxville. This was a great opportunity to learn construction technology under the supervision of some of the best in the business. In 1978, after earning my professional license, number 12484, I'll always remember, I left TVA with its great salary and benefit package to work in Crossville, Tennessee. I was a principal there for 33 years. I served as the architect of record on numerous projects from Georgia to Kentucky and from Knoxville to Nashville. I worked hard to grow the business so we could continue to live on Clear Creek. We lived in the cabin for 7 years, paying off my student loan, saving money, raising a boy and a girl, designing and building the house in phases that we live in today. Our house with high ceilings, windows facing the south with deciduous trees, evergreens to the north and west is passive solar heated. Our house is built of wood and stone from our property with our own hands and a little help from our friends. Today, I am 6 years into retirement from my architectural career. I'm working on my second career now. I am now a Black Angus seed stock breeder. I'm designing cattle. This year, I produced the high-selling bull out of 120 consignments from the southeastern U.S. at the UT Middle Tennessee Research Farm bull performance test. Education is important to Jeannie and I. Jeannie returned to UT to complete her degree in 1990 with a double major in art and biology. After working for the National Park Service at the Big South Fork Park, she now provides computer assistance for me and our son and enjoys gardening, reading, and using her creative skills. Taylor helps around the house, works on the farm, and our daughter Tanya is a pediatric doctor practicing in Chattanooga. We're now giving back to society with a focus on education. We give an encyclopedic dictionary to every third grade student in Morgan County every year. We teach sustainability through classes on plants and animals to all 7th grade science students in our county. We're providing endowments for scholarships and other student assistance at Roane State Community College and at UT in Knoxville. As you pursue your professional career, you will have many different options. You can take a traditional route, or like me, you can travel a path that is less traveled. But whatever route you take, work hard, be persistent, and never quit. And when you do achieve success, give back to society to help those coming behind you. I encourage each of you, after you achieve success in your chosen career, to come back here, stand on this podium, and motivate the next graduating class. Congratulations to everyone.
Thank you, Neil. It is now my pleasure to welcome Interim Provost and Senior Vice Chancellor John Zomchik to the podium to officially confer the degrees.
Thank you, Dean Poole. Ladies and gentlemen, candidates, good afternoon. I'm very proud to be here with you today, this afternoon, and to share in your accomplishments. I think from the talk that Mr. Richardson just gave, you can see that he certainly embodies courage and probably a lot of collaboration along the way. And his advice to be decisive, especially when it comes to a chosen path and a new path, one that you hadn't expected, couldn't be timelier or better. As I said, it's my honor to share with you this momentous occasion. We're proud of all that you've accomplished, humbled by your hard work, and we look forward to your accomplishments to come. Degree candidates, will you please stand? Oh yes, behind. By your presence today, you demonstrate that you have completed the requirements necessary for your degree and have been recommended for graduation by the faculty of the College of Architecture and Design. Therefore, by the authority of the state of Tennessee, vested in the Board of Trustees of the University of Tennessee system, and by them delegated to me, it gives me great pleasure to confer upon you the degrees for which you have been recommended. Undergraduates, you may now move your tassels from right to left. Congratulations. Please be seated. Graduates, today you join a worldwide core of UT alumni quickly approaching 250,000 very proud volunteers. I hope that in the days and weeks and months and years ahead, you'll heed Mr. Richardson's words of wisdom and do things that will bring you back here. Do things that will make you proud and make us proud. Make you proud to be alumni and make us proud to see that we have here a special place that prepares and launches young people to be the leaders in our world and the solvers of the problems that we in the world confront. Know that you will always be a member of the volunteer family, and that no matter where you go, chances are, if you're wearing something that proclaims your connection to the University of Tennessee, you'll find someone to come up to you and say, "Go Vols." It happens. Take my word for it. We encourage you to stay involved. I encourage you to take what you've learned, to take all the hard work that you've put in over the last 4 or 5 years, to apply it and to begin the long process of giving back. Giving back to those who've helped you, your family and friends. Giving back to those who've guided you, your faculty. Giving back to the colleagues who've been there through good times and hard times. And I invite you to think about how you might give back to this institution, this great institution, so that we can continue our mission of preparing those students who will lead the world, as our torchbearer says, out of the darkness and into the light. Congratulations and best wishes for the period ahead of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Zomchik. We will now move to the hooding portion of the ceremony where we will celebrate each graduate. The hooding ceremony is divided into 4 sections, each part representing one of our 4 degree programs. Each program will feature a student speaker selected by their peers. We will then hood each graduate. We ask that you hold your applause until the end. For each of the 4-year programs, one of the members of the stage party will take the podium. We will start with the Bachelor of Science in Interior Architecture. Now taking the podium is David Matthews, Director of our School of Interior Architecture.
It's a distinct pleasure to introduce Ali Bossard as a student speaker for interior architecture. Ali and her classmates have seen a lot of important changes in the program over the past 4 years. Their class was the first cohort group in the program. As they worked through the program doubling in student population, they produced the core work that led to reaccreditation, and I can thank them endlessly for this. But most importantly, Ali and her classmates supported the program name change to interior architecture, and I'm very proud to see that Ali and her peers are the very first class to earn a Bachelor of Science in Interior Architecture from the University of Tennessee. Congratulations to you. Ali is from Franklin, Tennessee. This past year, she was co-president of the student chapters of the International Interior Design Association, the American Society of Interior Designers. She is the recipient of the Chancellor's Award for Academic Achievement, and this summer she will be completing an internship at Gresham Smith in Partners in Nashville. I met Ali 4 years ago with her father when she visited the College of Architecture and Design as a prospective student. During the interview, her father asked about graduate opportunities, a foreshadow of what is coming. In the fall, Ali will be continuing her education at the University of Tennessee as she pursues a Master's of Architecture. We're very proud of her accomplishments to date. Ali is a truly amazing person. She is energetic, creative, exudes a love of life that is fabulous, contagious. Her positive attitude, her generosity toward others is always present. Ali, congratulations to you and your class, but I'm also so happy that you'll be back with us this fall.
Thank you, David. My name is Ali Bossard, and I am honored to have the opportunity to speak to you all today on behalf of the 2018 class of Interior Architecture. To quote the legendary 90s rock band Semisonic in their hit song Closing Time, every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. People often comment that college is the greatest time of your life. But while it has been a wonderful, albeit stressful and sometimes sleepless 4 years, I am confident that college is just the beginning of a lifetime of greater things for a group such as this. Among us, we have a Junior Nobel Prize winner, a Gensler Scholarship recipient, a Little Portfolio Competition winner, 3 beautiful brides, 8 teacher's assistants, and 21 bright and driven women who are going to make this world a bright and more beautiful place. Graduation speakers often seek to impart a great piece of wisdom or offer advice for the future. While I'm only 22 and I still get most of my advice from my parents and my professors, I would like to share a few tidbits of insight that I've learned over the past 4 years that I think will serve us all well in the future. And these are in no particular order. So first, there is no such thing as too much black, and you can never wear too much black. It's timeless and it matches everything, and also it's kind of our thing as designers. Second, there's also no such thing as too much coffee. Straight or otherwise prepared, but don't ask for opinions on this one. With enough work, you can do anything, so don't focus too long on how difficult something may seem. We are talented, smart, fashionable, and we will contribute to big things during our lifetime, so stay confident. Ask questions about anything and about everything. You will only better yourselves and those around you by working collaboratively and seeking further information. Stay curious about the world around you and the environment around you, and let that influence your work. Read books about design, about the world, about anything really. Reading is a stress reliever and a powerful mind sharpener. Sleep and take care of yourself. I know we are all counting on a month-long nap starting tomorrow, and hopefully the real world won't consist of too many all-nighters like school has, but there will be times in the not-so-distant future, I'm sure, with tight deadlines and families of our own, when we should all remember just to sleep. The details make the project. Stay diligent and focused. Everything you do will be better if it's just as intentional in the beginning or in the end as it was in the beginning. Stay in touch with your friends, with your teachers, and even with your junior year roommate. If there's anything that we know, it's that connections are everything in this field. And finally, be kind to everyone, always. You may not know the whole story, so please listen and be compassionate. The ability to empathize is key to design and to life. So with all of that, I would just like to say thank you to everyone for this time here at UT and for the opportunity to talk to you here today. It's a huge honor. And I can't wait to see what the future holds for everyone here. I know it seemed really impossible at times, but hey, we made it. So congratulations to the class of 2018. We made it. Good job.
Thank you, Allie. I'd like to ask the Bachelor of Science in Interior Architecture students to proceed toward the stage. Would everyone please hold their applause until the last interior architecture graduate has been hooded?
Sierra Bossa. Polly Ann Blackwell. Allison Bossard. Bruick Ball Brakefield. Isabella Lee Davis. Shelby Sarah Ferreter. Susie Stokes Gibson. Tanya Fabiola Granados. Lauren A. Higdon. Abby Catherine Holliday. Rachel Ann Hunt. Charity Yasa. Taylor Payne Johnston. Brittany Gentries Kirby. Nicole Kathleen Niezgoda. Kelly Ann Reamer. Heather Marie Shine. Catherine Smith. Mary Morgan Smith. Susan Guider Stewart. Andriana Thompson.
Please congratulate all the graduates receiving a Bachelor of Science in Interior Architecture. I would now like to introduce Jason Young, Director of the School of Architecture.
Congratulations, everyone. The Bachelor of Architecture students have selected Dylan Dunn to speak on their behalf. That came as no surprise to me nor anyone else that knows him. Dylan's one of the most decorated undergraduates to walk across this stage and receive his degree, and that might be true in the history of this stage. This year alone, Dylan has been awarded the AIA Henry Adams Medal and Certificate of Merit, the ARCC King Medal, a Chancellor's Citation for Extraordinary Academic Achievement, a Chancellor's Citation for Top Collegiate Scholar, and the Undergraduate Researcher of the Year Award, presented to Dylan by the Chancellor and Provost a few weeks ago. He also recently won the Distinguished Design Award given to the best undergraduate design project by an invited group of outside reviewers from schools of architecture. Dylan grew up in Nashville, Tennessee. A formidable family trip to Chicago ignited Dylan's interest in architecture, and he has never doubted his desire to become a licensed architect. As part of our school's off-campus study program, Dylan lived and studied in Krakow, Poland for 4 months, using long weekends and breaks in classes to travel extensively through Europe. The winner of the 2017 Alfred and Hope Adelot Traveling Fellowship, Dylan traveled last summer to Italy, Israel, Japan, and Indonesia, establishing himself as a truly global thinker and designer. He's just recently been awarded a Fulbright and will return to Indonesia in September for a 10-month period. It's my distinct pleasure to welcome Dylan Dunn to the podium.
Thank you, Jason. Write a little cheat sheet. So I think it's time we talk about the wall. On the western end of the Art and Architecture Building's 4th floor, there is a partie wall. It's a partition used to divide the otherwise open studio spaces. And there's nothing particularly arresting about this wall, architecturally or otherwise. It's bookended by columns that allow just enough room on either side for a few desks, chairs, and as I'll address later, plenty of sound to pass through. It is near the vending machines, which is pretty critical for late nights, as has been addressed already. And the masonry units of the wall are clad with this ancient technology that I'm told is a blackboard that has pretty much fallen into disuse as only real estate for the dankest of internet memes. But most importantly, this wall, this semi-permeable barrier, it was around this that our first year classes were formed almost 5 years ago, in the fall of 2013. Within a week of moving into this bifurcated studio space, there was already a subtle east versus west mentality developing for those that were on the west versus the east side of the wall. And this was kind of exacerbated by the nature of our class as a test bed for the new curriculum that is now in the college. So we were the guinea pigs for it throughout our tenure here. And part of that in our first year was that on the east side of the wall, we had an interdisciplinary cohort of both architects and interior designers. And on the west side of the wall, we had architects only. So this subtle curricular difference kind of sowed the seeds of friendly competition and a little bit of annoyance maybe on both sides. But as I mentioned previously, while this meme-laden wall may have served well as a visual barrier, it did absolutely nothing to block sound. And I think any nearby faculty and students might agree that it somehow managed to amplify any sound that went across it somehow. There's nothing quite like working at 3 a.m. toward a deadline you have the next day when someone busts out the Bluetooth speakers, blasts Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody, while a wannabe Jimi Hendrix mounts a desk with his T-square and strokes out the best air guitar solo that he can muster. And yeah, I'll give you one guess as to who that was. So something you have to understand is that studios are nomadic in nature, meaning that we are rarely in one spot for more than a year at best. So at the end of our first year, we learned that this wall would be metaphorically coming down and east and west would be united again as one architecture cohort. And I think at that point, the general sentiment could have been described as like a cringe, maybe? Like, do we really have to work with the ones that blast Queen at 3 a.m.? Or conversely, do we really have to work with the ones that make no noise and just work? Like, I didn't come to college to work. I'm not here for it. So to make this cohesion even more difficult, we had these extraterrestrial transfer students come out of nowhere with their own culture, their own inside jokes, coming out of this accelerated summer studio that they claimed was harder than everything that anyone else had ever done before. And so the beginning of second year really constituted this great synthesis of vastly different first year experiences from one side of the wall to the other, from the accelerated and supposedly more arduous summer program of the transfer students to the seemingly never-ending fall and spring semesters of our first year cohort. And yet here we are, 5 years later, and at least to me, it's as if that wall never existed. I really have to think for a minute to remember who was on what side of the wall, or even who transferred in. And this isn't to say that it's all candlesticks and kumbaya. I mean, we got our problems, obviously. But I'm amazed that some of the brightest, most forward-thinking, talented, and thick-headed individuals on UT's campus managed to be impromptu roommates in a concrete bunker for 5 years without major incident. Unless you count Charles showing up to a review without shoes on as a major incident, that it may have been a little bit. But other than that, fairly tame, fairly tame. And I think that speaks to the familial nature of this class. At risk of sounding cheesy, I'm willing to stamp the word family on this class. And I mean that in a real sense, not in like the Hallmark or like the business brochure sense. Like, we got problems, as I mentioned. Like, not everyone gets along, but I guess that's what makes it real, I suppose. And in the last few weeks, people have come up to me and said, Dylan, graduation's not an end, it's a beginning, which I guess is what you tell someone that you perceive to be in a state of panic. But graduation is an end. It's a termination. It's a conclusion to this narrative that we've crafted here together for the last 5 years. But that's okay, I think, especially for the class of 2018, for this familial class of 2018, because just like the dank memes, deep references, and God knows what other graffiti that adorned that wall that originally divided us, the narratives that we've crafted here together have been super interesting and honestly just a privilege to be a part of. I'm really excited to see what we all do next, guys, especially Charles. Congratulations, everyone.
Thanks, Dylan. I'd like to ask the Bachelor of Architecture students to proceed toward the stage and to remind everyone to please hold your applause and spontaneous outbursts to a minimum. Thank you.
Nathaniel Jones Aduke. Aubrey Kate Andrews. Austin Barrett. Mara Kawili. Jeremiah Xavier Corbett. Carter Joseph Daniel. Dylan Dunn. Rachel Elbin. Joseph Allen Ellis. Maggie Jane Briggs Ellis. Meredith Renee Graves. Cody Weston Grooms. Sierra Denise Holder. Spencer William Huff. Brandon Kent Hubbard. Anna Catherine Kittrell. Kathleen Alexandra Blake Cody. Emily Rose Lang. Kendall Maples. Victoria Rose Blaker. Timothy Hilton Rhine. Zane Graylin Russell. Adam Jesse Smith. Charles Stahl. Graham Colton Taylor. Carissa Wagers. Jacob Wakefield. Catherine White. Mustafa Abdul Farrakhan Williams. Aaron Wright.
Please help me congratulate the graduates receiving the Bachelor of Architecture, or super group. The students graduating with a Master of Architecture have asked that Andy Russell address them and their loved ones here today. Andy grew up in Morristown, Tennessee, and attended East Tennessee State University, getting a degree in construction engineering. He met his wife there, and somewhere along the way finagled his way into the architecture firm of Rohde Architects, a firm in Johnson City run by his father-in-law. Andy worked for close to 8 years in architecture before finally deciding to come to UTK, pursue a formal degree in architecture, and we're glad he did. Andy Russell is a family man. His wife and daughter put him on loan to us for the last 3.5 years. His Knoxville in-laws invited him to live in their house while a student at UTK. His father-in-law is no doubt expecting even more of him in the firm now. His father, mother, brother, and his late aunt all have degrees from UTK, and at some level it was only a matter of time before he had a UT degree as well. His thesis project, entitled Urban Artifact, engaged an obsolete big box store, wrangling with its parts qualities in order to chase out a set of productive practices that might collectively teach all of us how to engage the types of environments we all end up taking for granted. On behalf of the Master of Architecture students, please join me in welcoming Andy Russell to the podium.
Thank you, Jason, for such a nice introduction. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, friends, family, and honored guests. I want to start off with a sincere thank you to everyone that has been here to support all of us through this arduous journey of architecture. And since I have this opportunity, I want to thank my family for their support. Somewhere over there. My parents, my in-laws, and especially my wife, Andrea, and my daughter, Elise, who believed in me even when I didn't believe in myself. Without them, I would not have made it through this journey. I love you both so much, wherever they are. Thank you to my classmates who nominated me to speak here today. I'm truly flattered and slightly scared that they think that I should represent and speak for our class. Over the last 3.5 years, we've become a family, a slightly dysfunctional but pretty happy family. We've laughed, we've cried, we've been there for each other through painfully long reviews. We've had disagreements, but we always make up. After all the late nights, sliced fingers, leery eyes, and so much passion expended, it is awesome to see all of your faces here today, so much stronger and smarter than when we first met. Today we get to collectively celebrate having done something. My time here has taught me a lot about the discipline of architecture, the dedication, the work. It is more than just a potato. The amount of sleep you need to function and the importance of doing. I'm not talking about reading Kenneth Frampton or Vitruvius. I'm talking about the reason we are all here and made it to today, to create the places that inspire not only us, but others. Today, we get to add the degree of architecture to the list of things that we have done. Thank you to all of our professors that we've had the pleasure of working with during our time here. Each one of you has left your personal mark on how we design, create, and see architecture. It is hard for me to express how much appreciation I have for Jason Young. He is not only the director of our school, he has been our friend, our fearless leader, and sometimes therapist from the first day we showed up. Being that this is a commencement speech, I feel that I'm supposed to impart some type of knowledge or life lesson that will empower you for the future. But I don't know what I could tell you that you don't already know. I try to explain to people that the only way to be truly happy is to be who you truly are. The only way to live life is to do the things that you want to do and be the person that you want to be, no matter who that is, what that is, or how you have to do it. That's the only way that you can be truly happy. Being the parent of an amazing little girl that's somewhere here, I'm reminded every day of the wild spirit and inquisitive curiosity of childhood. In order to tame the wild beast of childhood, Our parents, our teachers, and society educate us on the rules of life. As adults, we have the challenge of which of those rules that we should unlearn. Our formal education has taught us the skills, supposedly, that we need to survive, and the rules of practicality. What's the egress requirement, and does it meet code? Those are pretty important. However, the potential power of design to influence human and societal interaction lies in the interpretation of the rules of civilized possibilities. The process of learning was not supposed to be warm and fuzzy. We were supposed to attempt and fail. We were supposed to be afraid and insecure. We were supposed to push the boundaries and take risks. Not having the courage to defy the limits and break the rules is the only real failure. I think about the magic that happens when you suspend the rules and allow the unknown to happen. When you create spaces in your world by your rules that matter to you. Suppose the inquisitive curiosity of childhood returns, or maybe this journey has proven that it's never left. Congratulations, class of 2018. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Andy. I'd like to ask the Master of Architecture students to proceed towards the stage.
Summer Ellen Abston. Lauren Paige Buntemeyer. Lindsay Elizabeth Clark. Diksha Mittal. Mark Anthony Nickel. Andrew Nathaniel Russell. John Dustin Toothman.
Please help me congratulate the Master of Architecture recipients today, a small but meaningful group. I would now like to introduce Gail Fulton, Director of our School of Landscape Architecture, to the podium.
Thanks, Jason. Welcome, everyone. And I'd like to again say congratulations to all of our graduating students. And before I introduce our landscape architecture commencement speaker, I'd also like to thank all the family, friends, faculty, and staff that have helped our students achieve the major accomplishment that this event celebrates. Design education in any discipline is an incredibly intense experience, and we know how critical it is for the success of our students that they have the support of all of you. So I thank you for your patience and support. And so it's now my pleasure to introduce Paul Babson as our 2018 Landscape Architecture Commencement speaker. Paul is the first of our unique 5+2 degree program in which University of Tennessee students are able to receive the 5-year undergraduate degree in the Bachelor of Architecture and the 3-year Master of Landscape Architecture degree in 7 years instead of 8. Having worked with him now for 3 years of these 7, I decided that if I had to choose one word to describe Paul, the word would be ubiquitous. Paul seems to be everywhere all the time. Or maybe it's just that he basically lives in the Art and Architecture building. But it's pretty rare that I talk to a student across the college that doesn't know Paul, and that's from multiple schools and multiple cohorts. Paul's visibility in the college, I think, is rooted in many activities, but it certainly didn't hurt that he took the lead on a multi-year series of digital workshops that were open to students across the college to learn new digital skills. And beyond that more formal setting, Paul seems to have always been willing to help students from any school and any cohort when they needed aid in navigating some aspect of their university life. We will miss Paul's energy and enthusiasm in the years ahead, but we know that these qualities will greatly benefit the firms and communities that he lands in. So please join me in welcoming Paul Babson for this year's speaker.
Greetings, graduates, professors, staff, family, and friends. I first want to thank everyone who supported this amazing group of students sitting in front of me. We are all here today because of your help. I commend the students as well. Getting through design school is no small feat. To all the non-designers in the crowd, as many have said before me, all the rumors that you've heard about design school, from the many long coffee-stimulated nights, to the harsh reviews and critiques, to the computer crashes and occasional crying, they're all true. We love design, though, because it gives us the ability to shape and make long-lasting changes to our world. This is a power not to be taken lightly, and our professors made sure we understood and respected this incredible responsibility. Thank you, because not only have you given us competency in design, you've also given us a reverence for it. The built environment is complex and requires multidisciplinary collaboration in architecture, landscape architecture, interior architecture, engineering, and the allied arts to achieve. But let's talk about the world of landscape architecture for a little bit. No, it is not what you did in high school for summer work. The world of landscape architecture is vast, touching urban design, horticulture, agriculture, engineering, infrastructure, data analytics, and environmental management. The combination of these fields of study allow landscape architects to impact multiple scales, from the scale of a microorganism to the scale of an ecoregion. This allows landscape architectural education to be so fascinating, as there are so many paths for students to explore. My class is small, just 4 students in total: Kaylee Shoemaker, Brian Stovall, Chris Herbstritt, and I began this journey 3 years ago, and we became a family. We bonded, we grew closer together, and we made sure to give each other the hardest possible time. Especially Kaylee, I don't know how you hung in there, so thank you for that. And we all had different undergraduate educations, and we brought different things to the table when we were coming into school in landscape architecture. I brought in experience from architecture when I was here, while Kaylee, on the other hand, had her major in nursing and cared just as much about the people as the environment. Chris and Brian had their degrees in landscape architecture here, although a few years apart. And these different interests manifested in the projects that we produced that challenged the traditional notions of what it is to be a landscape architect. Now, what amazes me the most is that during this time, both Kaylee and Brian got married to the love of their lives, Nick and Chelsea, and Chris and his wife Lauren had 2 children. So juggling family responsibilities and design school is an amazing feat, and you guys are awesome for that. The 21st century is going to bring several challenges, from climate change and rising waters, to food and water shortages, to increasing populations and mass migration, to energy and infrastructure. It is going to take a multidisciplinary approach to tackle these challenges. And we've learned in this school that we shouldn't be looking at these challenges as problems, but as opportunities to improve our lives, impact our environment, and those that will inherit it after us. This is a view that we plan to bring to the profession as we transition from student to practitioner. I am so proud for everyone for putting in the work necessary to achieve what you have. As someone who has been in the College of Architecture and Design for 7 years, straight by the way, both as an undergraduate in architecture and a graduate in landscape architecture, I have seen the college grow and change. And I've seen multiple students grow from first year to sitting in front of me today. So I'm so excited for what the future holds for the college, for design, and the profession as a whole. Congratulations, graduates. Now starts the rest of your lives. Go forth and be awesome. Go Vols.
So I think you can all tell by the excellent talks by our student speakers today that we have some excellent ambassadors for all of these disciplines going out into the world. At the University of Tennessee, education in landscape architecture is balanced across the applied sciences and the applied arts of design. As such, our program is offered through an intercollegiate partnership between the College of Architecture and Design and the College of Agricultural Sciences and Natural Resources. I am fortunate to be able to welcome Dr. John Steyer, Associate Dean of the College of Agricultural Sciences and Natural Resources, with us today to help confer these degrees. So I'd like to ask the degree candidates in landscape architecture to now proceed towards the stage. And again, would everyone please hold their applause until all of the graduates have been hooded.
Paul Tamuna Taku Babson. Brianna Jade Browning. Christopher Reed Herbstritt. Elizabeth Kaylee Shoemaker. Brian Walker Stovall.
Please join me in congratulating our graduates receiving degrees in landscape architecture.
I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Assistant Professor Alex Lappins, violinist Benjamin Parton and Clara Princeton, violist Cameron Rayberg, cellist Ashley Booth, and vocalist Kayla Beard of the University of Tennessee School of Music. Additionally, I would like to thank interpreters Christy Pearson and Amy Cohn, who have assisted with our ceremony. Thank you for sharing your talents with us today. I'd also like to thank Bandit Lights and its CEO, alumnus Michael Strickland, for the donation of their energy-efficient lighting for today's ceremony. I'd also like to thank the fabulous staff of the College of Architecture and Design for their efforts in planning and coordinating today's graduation and reception. In particular, we thank Executive Assistant to the Dean Jenny Flatford and Administrative Assistant Vanessa Arthur for their fine work. We would also like to acknowledge several alumni who graduated from the University of Tennessee. I'd like to recognize Mr. Reed Smith. Mr. Smith is the grandfather to interior architecture graduate Polly Ann Blackwell. He earned an accounting degree from the University of Tennessee in 1958. During his time as a student, he was a proud member of the Pride of the Southland Band. Mr. Smith resides in Nashville. Other guests we would like to recognize are Janice Barnes, cousin of Bachelor of Architecture graduate Cody Grooms, and her husband Leonard Temko. Janice and Leonard both graduated from the College of Architecture and Design with a Bachelor of Architecture in 1990. They're currently practicing in New York City. A special thank you to Dr. John Zomchik for being with us today for the conferral of degrees. On behalf of our college, I'd like to extend to each of our honored graduates heartfelt congratulations. This momentous event is by no means a parting of our ways. I'm optimistic that each of you will remain engaged with us as we endeavor to become better, even the best School of Architecture and Design, College of Architecture and Design in the United States. As you leave the University of Tennessee, know that you come from a special place. Remember the excellence you encountered here, and spread that pursuit of excellence wherever you go in the world. Please give our graduates a final round of applause. At this time, I would like to welcome back vocalist Kayla Beard to sing our alma mater to close the ceremony. Please stand and remain standing until the academic recessional of the stage party, faculty members, and our honored graduates is complete. And I hope to see you all at the reception honoring our graduates immediately following our ceremony at the Art and Architecture Building. Thank you for joining us today. All the best to all of you.